Elon Musk's gutting of USAID is actually putting us all in a great deal of danger, and I want to explain to you how and why so that you can explain to people you know. So first, in case you're wondering, what is USAID? Anyway, it is the United States Agency for International Development. It was started in 1961 by John F. Kennedy. It's an independent agency of the US government that's focused on international development and foreign aid. People may say, oh, well, then I don't care about it because it's not about me, but it is, and that's what I'm going to explain to you. So we'll set aside for a second the fact that many of us think that feeding starving babies in Sudan is a good end in and of itself. For those of you who really need a payoff for you personally, I'm going to tell you what it is. And you're going to really like this in particular if you're like an America First person, because ironically, USAID is putting America first, like more than any other agency. It's all about advancing US interests abroad so that we do better here, but it also gives us power and influence in the world. So by shutting this agency down, we are actually creating a power vacuum in the world, and guess who is going to fill that power vacuum and become more powerful themselves? This country and this country. Meanwhile, we will weaken. By the way, we all know that those are two countries who would love to see the United States fail, but when it's your own government that's making the US fail, you kind of have to ask why. But I digress. So let's talk about some of the ways that USAID keeps us all safe. I'll start by talking about terrorism, because the work that USAID does directly reduces the chances of terrorism here and abroad. And you have to understand that in many parts of the world, young populations that don't see a stable or hopeful future for themselves are highly susceptible to recruitment by terrorist groups. USAID programs are designed to give those people a stable and hopeful future. Look at what the Brookings Institute says. A well-funded military is vital to our security, but foreign aid can also provide a cheap way to protect American interests. And the same is true, by the way, of international migration. For those of you who don't like immigrants, we see lower immigration rates to countries like ours when other countries are stable. USAID funds stability. Anyway, here's another way that we are being made less safe. Diseases. And I'll give you just one example. There is an Ebola outbreak in Uganda right now. And I got an email from someone who works with USAID who is extremely concerned about this for us. And here's what they say. USAID has a team working to contain the spread, and that team has been hamstrung by both the programmatic pause and personnel actions currently underway. Preventing the spread of the disease at its origin prevents it from coming through the border and arriving in the United States. They write, now we are exposed. But there's more. Do you support Buy America? Because USAID creates stable markets for US businesses, and it keeps our supply chain strong. And by the way, what the administration is doing right now has already led to the loss of 50,000 jobs domestically so far. There's more. How about American farmers? Do you care about them? Because as we've said, USAID is a primary supplier of US food aid, and guess where they buy 41% of that food, over $2 billion a year worth of it, from U.S. farmers. As of this week, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of wheat is already sitting at docks because it can no longer go abroad. Guess who's going to get hit with all of that loss? Our farmers, our people. I could go on. There's the personal security of American personnel working abroad because they have all been cut off from funding. They've been cut out of security details. They're literally physically exposed because of the termination of this funding. Here's the thing that's really crazy about all of this. USAID represents 1% of our annual budget in the United States. 1%. It is the best return on investment we could possibly ask for. Do you know what is wildly more expensive? Going to war. What is also more expensive? Giant Ebola outbreaks in our country. We're also going to see more surges in immigration and terrorist attacks increase. We're going to see our supply chain go more unstable. We're going to see farmers going bankrupt, and we're going to see our foreign adversaries strengthening while we weaken. Where's the benefit in all of that? The craziest thing of all is why we're doing this. Musk is doing this because he has a personal grudge against USAID because they were deeply involved in ending apartheid in South Africa, and his parents were part of the white supremacist regime that was toppled by the end of apartheid. And Trump, who doesn't actually know how to govern, is just letting Musk do it because he wants his giant tax cuts, so he wants to justify them by saying that Musk is saving all this money, even though in the long run, this will cost us a fortune more. Trump is helping his rich buddies and himself, of course, because it's always about helping himself. Musk is just paying off an old grudge, and we are getting screwed, and it's all illegal. And I mean that literally. The executive branch does not have the power to shut down this agency. That is Congress's job. They haven't done it, so it can't be shut down. So you guys, please call your Congress members and demand that they stop this. Remember, America can only be first if America is among the many. Otherwise, we're just America alone, and that can't be good for any of us.